Hello, Dan here, DK Excavating. We're at 364 Bocage Drive, looking at the sewer. There is a clean out on this house. As you're looking from the street, off to the right side of the house, there's a little staircase going down to the basement, and the cleanouts right next to the fence by that staircase. This sewer line pretty much runs right along the property line from halfway back on the house all the way up to the tap. But right now we're looking at what I believe to be a turn right before going into the tap. So if we back up a little bit, you can see this turn. This is like a 45 or a 90-degree fitting. Maybe they used it to change the angle a little bit, because that fitting right here looks like it got kind of a rough cut on it, like when they cut that pipe, it just has a rough edge on it. And it looks a little offset, but that usually happens when clay fittings aren't perfectly lined up. I do believe that this has been like this since installation. Looks like we got a little tree root at the top of that, maybe also. Yeah, some fine tree roots right there. You can see how it curves down in. Doesn't quite line up perfectly, but it's sloping down pretty stinking steep, and I don't see any liquids or solids hanging up on it currently. So if there's not a history of problems here, then it's probably okay. But perhaps a video or a picture from the city side would be able to tell us more. I cannot seem to get my camera around this spot. I'll give it one more try just for good measure. Yeah, I just can't get past this spot. I just keep hitting right against that edge on that. So this has to be going down pretty far. I showed it 11'2" deep out here at the tap in the street, and we're only about 4.5, 5 foot deep back here. But this system will pull back. We're about 120 feet out roughly. The system does have a few roots and a few valleys. Here's our main root. So we're just a little ways back from the tap. It looks like some roots are protruding that fitting there. I would say just some regular maintenance, and maybe some root killer would probably take care of that. Of course, it could always be dug up, but regular maintenance should be able to take care of that. As with any clay line, regular maintenance is always recommended. Back a little ways here, we have a small belly right here. I can't remember how far this went, but it is deep and steep, really short. Right here where we're looking at, this spot right here is probably just about a foot or so into the street, into the asphalt. So most of this belly is under the curb and the sidewalk out by the street. We drop in completely underwater, so this is at least 2 inches deep, maybe more. We can't really tell because we're submerged. Now we're coming out. Oh, there we go. Now you can see that the pipe looks like it's, if not submerged, completely pretty close by the time it gets down to where you can't see anything going out through the top there. So it's got a nice little dip right there. It's not really nice. It's just a short, quick dip. So there's definitely something weird going on with that. This spot right here, I think when I located it was just inside the yard where the sidewalk is, right on the right side of the driveway if you're looking from the street. So going back a ways further, there's a little sledge in the line. Looks pretty decent for a little ways here. I think we were 7 feet deep at that spot under the sidewalk. So we had quite a bit of fall from the sidewalk to the tap. about 4 feet of slope, which is pretty steep. The street does look elevated, so it might only be like 3 feet of slope, but it's still quite a bit of slope for that distance. Alright, here we go. We're starting to get into another series of bellies for a little ways here. So this is pretty much at the front of the garage next to the house, and I'm not 100% sure what direction this is. I'm guessing maybe to the north or maybe to the northwest, but it's to the right of the garage, pretty much right even with the front of the garage, and it bellies in and out of bellies through this section all the way back to where the stairs are, by the door going down to the basement. So we'll go ahead and pull back so you can take a look. This belly here is kind of small, but just the fact that it goes in and out of bellies quite a bit tells me that there's not really a lot of slope on that. Bellies hold water at a level elevation, and most of it's got water, and that means there's not much drainage. Might have some drainage right there. Drop into another one. I think I counted 3 bellies on the way down in this section. And I think that's the end of the belly right there. Pretty sure that's the end of the belly right there. We're right at the top of the stairs for that outside basement access. And we got a little ways to go before we get to our PVC cleanout. Right here, just a little shot. And there we transition to PVC. And come up here. I think there might have been a little dirt in the bottom there. I think that's, actually looks like it might be just a little scale from the cast iron in the pipe. Maybe got deposited there from all the movement. But it doesn't seem to be holding water, so it should flush out. But now we're going vertical. I'll clean out. Then it angles back because it's actually a hair in the neighbor's yard. And right now this thing angles like this. It's kind of strange. It kind of angles in under the fence to go slightly into the neighbor's. So like I said, the sewer line pretty much follows the property line the whole way. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope this helps.